Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Amy McNee with Informatica, and today I have the pleasure of talking with JC Lionti, Chief Data Officer. You know, one of the things I think a lot of companies, executives, everybody, they worry about risk, obviously with AI, and this is all it's emerging very quickly, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But AI governance as a discipline is really kind of it's gotten to be a very popular topic. And so the question to you is, how do you think AI governance needs to evolve to support the different use cases, your different priorities to make sure that you do mitigate your risk?
AI governance is necessary. Let's put it this way. And I think our regulators have made it very clear that they are paying attention as to how we are and our peers are managing the risk associated to introducing AI and the different, we'll say, kind of model into some of our process and decision-making processes. So I think we're very conservative at Mizuho. So we started with that. So we started by developing our AI governance and risk management processes ahead of really starting to deploy and develop any type of AI-based solutions. So we are treating now every project or every solution that's leverage meaning AI, and AI covers ML, Gen AI, and the assembly of ML and Gen AI to agentic AI, for example, and so on. And every time we have a new, again, solution being brought within the firm, being by my team or even by others, that goes through the same rigorous governance vetting before we even get started. So we've really put that at the core of our practices. So there's a huge amount of clarity, and that governance process brings a lot of actors that you will see typically involved in risk management activities, being risk management itself, legal, compliance, and so on. So we all come around the table, evaluate the risks. If we want to use a new model, the model is being looked at, it's being validated. We understand how we want to control its outputs and so on and so on. So it's been a very, they may have delayed a little bit how and when we got started with our AI program, but I think now we seem to be reaping the benefit of that discipline now. And to your question, I think I've seen a lot of firms doing the opposite, jumping in, deploying solutions, and so I now say, let's see what it means.
I know I've talked to a few companies and they've done some things in this area around even, we've had data governance steering committees around data for a long time. And they're starting to form these same kind of steering committees around AI. Have you all gone that far yet? Or are you still in the process of doing some of that work?
No, we have. So we're trying to be robust without necessarily over-engineering some of our processes. So we have a dedicated AI forum that specifically looks at, it's more of a risk management, I will say, driven forum today that looks at, any new solutions that includes or leverage those newer technology. So that has been in place now for quite some time. It's running on a weekly basis, and we take a look at new solutions. We get status on the evaluation of prior solutions that are in the pipeline and so on. And on the other hand, from a use case prioritization perspective, we have a much more, I'll say, focus group with key senior leaders that are looking at, again, how we are prioritizing the solutions that we want to support or not. So
okay, good.
all of this rolls under the overarching data, we'll say, or that executive committee that covers everything data for Mizuho.
Okay, good. One of the things I think that's important to any AI program, not just the people part, but actually knowing how to measure success or failure right from the beginning of a project. It's really important. Sometimes it's overlooked because it's actually kind of hard to do. And I'm wondering what kinds of metrics you have, what kinds of tools are you using to measure, the performance and business impact of your AI initiatives?
First principle that we apply is before starting or proving a new solution or use case, we're very clear as to why we're doing it, what is the value we expect to find or generate, and understanding how we're going to be tracking and measuring. That's point number one. After that, meaning each use case can be unique, but usually, the couple of common tools that we're using is if this is a customer-facing internal or external solution, user traffic is very important. It's a very important metric. And the second one is, again, around value realization. So having the ability to also measure this over and over and reviewing this to confirm whether we should continue with a solution or stop it. But that starts even with the development process where we have checkpoint and toll gates as we develop a solution, just to make sure to confirm that, yes, we're still proving our case, I think, as we develop it. And there are different levels of go, no go checkpoints. That yes, what we felt we could do, yes, we're proving that we can. Let's go to the next point and so on. So the idea is to, if it doesn't work, be able to cut our losses, as early as possible as well. And so far, we've been pretty, I think, either lucky or successful, but we have a pretty high success rate.
It's good to hear you describe the metrics aligned to the business, because I still see people making mistakes with more, sort of technical or technology-oriented projects, tying them to very technical metrics, which really doesn't matter. It's the difference between activity and outcome. So it's really good to hear you talking about the actual business impact. And, as you've gone through the journey, what are some of the specific challenges you've encountered or overcome, either way, such as things like poor data quality or, an AI fluency skill set, developing that skill within your organization so that you can achieve data and AI readiness? And what kinds of mechanisms have you put in place to make sure these challenges get addressed for the long term?
Yeah, probably your point, all the challenge that you have mentioned, we have encountered to some degree. And I think the first one was, again, around risk and around what risk does those type of solution introduce, and therefore, what do we need to do to get people internally comfortable in using and leveraging those solutions. So the risk management aspect has been a very significant challenge to overcome. Okay, making everybody comfortable that, yes, we could do it. Remember, a couple of years ago, we're hearing a lot about hallucination. We're hearing a lot of, wrong decision being made because of the incorrect output of the model and so on. So we somewhat benefited from this. So that really helped ground our priorities and our risk management practices. So, and at the same time, as we were trying to create those risk management processes, there was a lot of education that had to be done as to how does an AI model work? Okay, what do we need to pay attention to? What does that mean? How does that differ to how we're managing, for example, model risk today? Okay, how what do we need to do? How folks need to meaning understand. So we had quite a bit of very tailored, I would say, training as we were creating our risk management practices. Then yes, another challenge was again the availability of data, the availability of quality of quality data. So how do you go about, say, creating your delivery process, meaning focusing on an MVP that you know you can achieve based on what you have, what you think you can get quickly, and then how are you releasing or improving your product as you go. That was pretty key. And fluency and understanding of how to use some of those solutions was very important. So we had different sets of training that were available to either targeted staff or the entire bank. Was a lot of communication efforts from very senior leaders say, hey, this is what we do, take advantage of those free training that we sponsored at the enterprise level to bring again the fluency of everyone that was interested into by those new technologies.
It's such a great point. I'm so glad you brought it up because that's actually a hot button of mine. I think enablement in training programs in general, and not just with AI, but across the board with a lot of things. I think it's the one area where sometimes we underinvest because we forget how valuable it is. And especially with AI and data in general, I think unless you have a bad actor, most people, they don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to do something bad. And sometimes it happens inadvertently because they didn't have the right training. So it's great to hear you talk about that as a priority. And I hope more companies do the same. So I think that's really important.
Yes, and we're structuring it even further as we speak. So,
yeah, and I think that's a great point to end on. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today, sharing your ideas, your experience, and your observations. They've been really great. So, to the audience, thank you for listening. And please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. So thank you, JC.
Thank you.